Shabbat Shalom. How's everybody doing? All praises, man. I'm glad I made it. I'm glad. I'm glad I made it, man. It's been very, very hectic past few weeks, man. But all praises to the Most High. You know, got lovely, beautiful daughter. Hey, and I'm glad to be back too. You know, I miss the brethren, and that is the topic of this class that I put together. So about brethren and loving, you know, Hebrew Israelites, we get a bad rep. We get a bad reputation. They say we're a hate group, right? But they don't understand that this is the biggest love group that there is. It's just that we love ourselves, you know, loving other people. The so-called black experience in this country, we've been loving other people for 400 years. And where did they get us? They didn't get us anywhere, right? So the Hebrew Israelites, we love ourselves. We prefer ourselves. And this is all biblical. And, you know, a lot of people will be like, oh, well, you know, that's the Old Testament. But for the focus of this class, I'm actually dealing, like, I'll say 85% with the New Testament to show this love for the brethren, right?
And you know what? They always say, oh, that's the Old Testament. Like they actually read the Old Testament.
Nah, they don't.
You know?
They don't.
One more thing, right? When they keep talking about the Old Testament, it tells you in the Old and the New Testament, you can't add or take away from the book.
Exactly. So you can't take, and that's a Christian problem in itself, right? Because they'll say that's the Old Testament, but in the last chapter of the Bible in Revelations 21, it actually says, "Cursed be any man who takes away or adds to this book." So that means if you saying, "Oh, we don't deal with the Old Testament," then according to the New Testament, you're cursed anyway. You know. So my first, you gonna read for me, Amal? I want 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5.
I still gotta get better with the.
He's a good reader too, huh?
Yeah, con. I remember the brother, man. I'm so happy to see the brother, man.
Did he came back, was it last week, 2 weeks ago?
Oh, wow. Last year. Second Corinthians 13, verse 5.
This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 13, verse 5. Examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith. So I prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Yahweh is in you, except ye be reprobate.
Reprobate. So it says, examine yourself, whether ye be in the faith, right? So it's easy. Let's go. Hold this. Let's go to Philippians chapter 3. Right? It's easy to say I'm an Israelite. You know, Deuteronomy 28 verse 68. I'm an Israelite. Philippians is 2 books over, Ephesians and Philippians. All right? Philippians 3 verse 5.
3 and 5.
Start 4. Right? So it's easy to say I'm an Israelite, you know, descendant of the transatlantic slave trade, you know, but what value does that give you, right? Yes, how Philippians chapter 3 verse 5.
4 stuff.
Yeah, start at 4, Salakia.
This is the book of Philippians, chapter 3, verse 4. Though I might also have confidence in the flesh, if any other man thinketh that he has whereof he might trust in the flesh, I more.
So what's the point? Like what value is it in being an Israelite, right? What value is it in being an Israelite if we're not doing it, right? So he's saying a lot of, you know, because the people that rejected Hamashiach, they had confidence in their flesh, like we're the sons of it, children of Abraham, right? So Paul is chastising them about this. Like you got confidence in your flesh. Me too, right? Let's continue. Verse 5.
This is the book of Philippians, chapter 3, verse 5. Circumcised the 8th day.
So this is a custom. He's letting you know. Check, I got it. I was circumcised the 8th day, according to the law. Go on.
Of the stock of Israel.
He's an Israelite.
In the tribe of Benjamin.
He's a tribe of Benjamin. Big up Benjamin.
Hebrew of the Hebrews.
So he considered himself a Hebrew of the Hebrews. You know, go on.
As touching the law, a Pharisee.
Touching the law, a Pharisee. Now, you know, the Pharisee, that word is like they're separated almost. That's what Pharisee means, like a separate. It's like they separate themselves even more so than, you know. So go on.
Concerning zeal.
So he's talking about now how his zeal, his zealous towards the law.
Persecuting the church.
So he was so zealous for the law, he was persecuting the church, the followers of Yahushua. Go on.
Touching the righteousness which is in the law, blameless.
So he did everything, the righteousness in the law, he did everything blameless. Go on.
But what things were gain to me, those I counted loss for Yahushua.
So he said, so for all that he has, being an Israelite, a Hebrew circumcised, he conceded lose all of that for Yahushua. Go on.
Ye deathless, and I count all things but loss, for the excellency of the knowledge of Yahushua is my Lord, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Yahushua.
So all of this, just being an Israelite, doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. It matters, but it doesn't matter. You know, it's like a raffle, right? You know, the kingdom is the prize. For you to even put your ticket in, you have to be an Israelite. So it do matter. But at the end of the day, if you don't win that prize, it don't matter. Remember, 2/3 of our people are going to get destroyed here in the land of their enemies, right? So just because they're Israelite, and guess what? A lot of them are actually going to think that they're in the faith. They're going to think that they're in the truth, right? Because a lot of them, that's why I started. Let's go back to 2 Corinthians 13, verse 5. So I started with examine yourself, you know, because a lot of us, we know that we're Israelites, but are we really in this faith? Are we really, you know, you wear your fringes, that's cool, you know, but how's, you know, that's just the outer appearance. How's the inner appearance of you, right? You got to bring it up when you got it.
It's the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 13, verse 5. Examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Yahushua is in you, except ye be reprobates.
Keep going.
But I trust that ye shall know that we are not reprobates.
So Paul is saying he's hoping that we ain't reprobates, right? He's telling you, hey, check yourself, make sure you're not reprobates. But I believe we're not reprobates. Go on.
Now I pray to Yahweh that ye do no evil. Not that we should appear approved, but that ye should do that which is honest.
So he's saying, don't worry about how you look. He's saying, I pray you do no evil, not for how it looks, but just for the sake of not doing it, you know? To be honest. Go on.
Though we be as reprobates. For we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. So
we can't do anything against this truth, you know? That the elect is going to be sealed regardless. The 1/3 who's going to be saved, who's going to be brought through the fire, is going to be sealed regardless, right? So we can't do anything. So we got to check ourselves. Hope that we can be counted in that number, right? So let's go to let's deal with some of what Yahushua said. This is Matthew 22, verse 33.
22.
33.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 33. And when the multitude heard this, they were astonished at his doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
But first, when the Pharisees had heard that he had put the
Sadducees.
Sadducees to silence, they were gathered together.
Mm-hmm.
Then one of them, which was a lawyer,
Which was a Levite. A lawyer is literally a Levite. Go on.
asked him a question, tempting him and saying, Master, which is the great commandment in the law?
Mm-hmm. So we're going to find out which is the greatest commandment in the law.
Yahweh said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy Yahweh with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind.
And we know this, right? Because when he gave us the 10 Commandments, I believe the first 4 was speaking directly about the Most High. The first 4 things was, no God with me, like I'm a jealous power, so he's letting you know I'm the God. Love me, right? Go on.
This is the first and great commandment.
Yeah, I wish I said it. This is the first and the greatest commandment. Go on.
And the second is like unto it.
And the second greatest commandment is just like the first.
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. This is the second greatest commandment. And this is what we got to examine ourselves. How we dealing with our neighbor, our people, right? Because I'm not talking about the next guy, the guy next door, the Asian guy next door. That's not your neighbor, right? That's a Western idea of neighbor, but that's not the biblical idea of neighbor, right? So he says, and the second commandment is like unto it. So it's almost as important as it. So we got to make sure that we focus on this one too, right? Love thy neighbor as thyself. Go on.
On these 2 commandments hung all the law and the prophets.
So on these two commandments, you can break down all the laws, and you're going to say they fall into one of these categories: loving God, loving your neighbor. Right? They're going to fall into one of these 2 categories. Not that these are the only 2 commandments we got to focus on. No, but if you're focusing, if you're doing these 2, you're going to do them because you're loving God and you're loving your neighbor, right? So now let's go let's get this out of the law. Let's go to Leviticus 19. Why kids are too much. Leviticus 19, verse 15.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 15. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty. But in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor.
So this again talking about your neighbor, right? Your brother. It says you shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. So you can't, just because the brother got the powerful breakdowns, if the brother going off, he going off. No respect of persons, right? It says shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Yes. So you're not going to give one judgment to the poor and then a different judgment to the mighty, the brother who's up there, right? If the brother did something, you correct it, right? Doesn't matter. No respect of person. Go on. Verse 16.
Thou shalt not go up and down as the talebearer among thy people.
Gossiping.
Yeah.
Go up and down as a talebearer. And I've been on social media within like the community, man, and I see like that's all that there is up there. That's all it is. This one did this one did this brother's on, and that's all that you see is like, instead of us building each other up, even in this truth. And that's why I said, that first scripture to examine yourself. Examine yourself. Because even in this truth, we see it, right? All crab in the bucket mentality, pulling each other down, pulling each other down. That's not, like, what's the point, right? Go on.
Neither shall thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor.
And we're not supposed to. So you see somebody doing your brother wrong, you're not supposed to be like with it. Like, like Thanksgiving just passed recently, eating that, celebrating that holiday, that's standing against the blood of your brothers, the Northern Kingdom, right? So we're not supposed to do that. Go on.
I am the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him.
So it says, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart, right? And thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor. So if you see a brother going off, it's the law. We're supposed to correct them. We're supposed to be like, brother, you going off. Brother, you going off, and that's why we have to, the Most High gave us the law, but we're supposed to be each other, right? And we're supposed to be there for each other. Don't add sin to sin. So the brother then stole from you. He then stole from the congregation, and now he's just gonna keep going. I then hit up Judah. Let me see if I could get what I could get from Yahweh Shalamar. You know what I mean? Like, let me see what I'll get from Mike now. Now we're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to correct the brother. Like, brother, you're not doing right, right? All right, let's continue.
Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people.
So it says we're not supposed to avenge, right? This is holding grudges. This is, you want revenge against this brother, like Yahweh Shah said, and I didn't even put this in the. If somebody take your, what do you say? Take your coat, give them your, yeah, give them the coat too, like. So if the brother then did you wrong, you're not supposed to hold vengeance against him, like, obviously, like that example I just used, like the brother stealing from Yahweh, right? Obviously, if the brother's in that position where he feel the need to steal from Yahweh, we're not going to try to put him to shame, but what we're going to do is like, yo, the brother obviously is in a position where he probably needed it, but shame and pride won't let him ask, so we're not going to, no, but we're going to correct the brother, like, brother, that's wrong, what I mean? But we're not going to hold, I never liked that nigga anyway, we're not going to have that spirit on us, what I mean? We're going to correct them,
Like you said, we have the scriptures.
Exactly, and we go into the scriptures to correct them, like, brother, the scriptures say, thou shalt not steal, but it also say we're not supposed to take avenge against you, so I'm not gonna look to put hands on you, you know what I mean? Like, but just know that you're wrong, brother. You offended your brother. Go ahead.
Place that in the train station.
How did you place that in the train station?
Or if you do a train stop, what would you put that on the
So the thing is if you're dealing with a brother that's aware of the truth, right? Because I had a conversation, just yesterday with one of my brothers. He's not in the truth, and we was talking about a lot of stuff from our childhood before we was even aware of this truth, and we come to realize that the scriptures tell us that in Deuteronomy 6 that the law is our wisdom, right? So a brother who's not in the truth, he's not operating in wisdom. He's operating out of his own belly, out of his own thoughts. So a brother in the world, if he do me wrong, the scriptures is clear. We're not supposed to avenge our brother, right? But we have to use wisdom with things, like I'm not gonna bring the scriptures to a brother that do me wrong in the train station. you know what, brother, you got it. You got it. I'm gonna pray for you. Now, if it's somebody from the other nation, I might react a little different, you know, because let me get this is
I mean, a brother that's in the truth.
a brother that's in the truth in the train station.
And go through the train stop. You know, go through the.
The turnstile. He hopping the train. He's hopping the train.
Okay, now, what category would you put that under? It's not stealing.
Nah,
But like, if he so wants to get, you know, which they will because they're losing a lot of money.
of course, and
Israelite.
they're actually cracking down on that. They literally just had it a few days ago on the news that they put like 5,000 new cops to patrol these subways. So that's a lot, you know, and the people are saying it's a waste of funds that could be going into other things. But that brother, that's, you know, I'm gonna speak for myself. You know, the greatest resource that I have is myself, right? And that brother that's hopping the turnstile, he's putting himself and his loved ones at risk for that, right? Now, that brother, you know, I'm not gonna put the judgment on that, right? Because I don't think hopping the turnstile is a sin, right? But I would say it's not moving in wisdom. Right.
It would also put the image of us as a nation in a bad image. Even if it's just you.
Exactly.
Putting, you know, No, I'm not. No, I'm just saying, if it was a brother.
If it was a brother in the truth, man, you know,
where would you place that?
Like poverty is rough, you know, but you know the brother gotta, you know, the most the scriptures say that the most reject he reject the he reject he rejects the proud, and he raise up and he gives grace to the humble. That's it, paraphrasing in Hebrew.
You say, render unto Caesar what is Caesar.
Render unto Caesar what is Caesar. Pay that man. He, you know, don't take his system, right? But the point I was saying about him, the Most High rejecting the proud, is that, you know, I go my train station every time I go in and out there. There's people asking for a fare swipe. That's legal. The cops can't do you anything if you ask for a fare swipe, you know? So if the brother's in that bad of a situation, the brother could ask for a swipe, you know?
If you hold the gate open for someone else, that can be considered as...
Yeah, that's fair evasion too. And the cops can take you who paid for holding that gate open, you know? So at the end of the day, you know, like, if the scriptures, if you come into this truth, and, you know, that's a beautiful question, because it goes into the topic that if you come into this truth and you are still the same person as you was when you wasn't in the truth, then you got some searching to do, brother. You gotta humble yourself down. Know your position and humble yourself down. The Most High is gonna raise you up. It says it's a light thing for him to bring up the beggar and bring down the king. You know, it's a light thing. So the most, you know, like in situations like that, you know, the brother just got to humble himself down, you know, like he's in the truth. If he's in the truth in that situation, that's what you got brothers for. Like, hey, man, listen, I love y'all. I'm going through a hard time. I can't even get train fare. You know, a brother will come out of his pocket here, brother, hold 20. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, I'll bring it out, you know, because stuff like those, man, we in Ezekiel 37, it says that we stand up when the dry bones, the sinews come on it, we stand up as a army. We are literally the army of the Most High. The Most High is raising up his army. So a brother that would risk his freedom over a fear, you know, it's almost like a slap in the face of the Most High, you know, like that the Most High raised you up, brother. Like, you know, he got you in this position because you might be a spearman in his army. what are you doing putting yourself in jail, you know? Like putting yourself at risk for that, you know, and you know, I don't want to give away a lot of the stuff that's in my lesson, but Yahweh Shah said that the greatest love is for a man to lay down his life for his friends. So that's being selfish when you're putting yourself out the position where, you know, we got to look at this as right now it's spiritual warfare, but the spiritual will give way to the actual warfare, you know, and the Most High is raising up, his army. Don't throw away what he then gave you. You know, I look at our people in this world, man, and they don't know who they are, where they come from. And the Most High chose fit to wake you up, and you're gonna, man. The scriptures say the fear of the Most High is the beginning of wisdom. So you gotta have that fear at the beginning, like, yo, the Most High raised me up. Why? Why me? You know, like why me? The Most High got plans for you. You understand? Like the Most High got plans for you. So don't just cast it away. You understand? Don't just cast that away like it ain't nothing. I'm messed up out here.
You refund your misery.
Yeah. now he got you. Now he sent you to some jail with a bunch of wild bloods. You know, like because you can't humble down and ask for a swipe. You know what I mean? Like, and that's legal.
Then they come see you. Damn, I should have paid for it.
Hey, Salakia, Mike, what was that? 1 Peter 3 and 5, you said? 5 and 6. Let me read that.
And then you said Ezekiel 37, right?
Yeah, Ezekiel 37, he's talking about raising up his army, the Most High's army. Exactly. I'll read it, right? This is 1 Peter 5 and 6. Humble yourself, therefore, under the mighty hand of Yahweh, that he may exalt you in due time. That's a beautiful precept, Mike. Right? And verse 7 says, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. So that brother that's going through that circumstances, don't think that the Most High don't know. The Most High know. He raised you up in that position where you got to turn to him.
After that point, you can take it to Baruch 425.
Well, let's get it, right?
He put you in that position, that's a punishment, but you're going to have your neck on your enemies.
Exactly. And when the Most High time to turn it around, you know, we gonna be, you know, because a topic, you know, is we was talking about was you know, racism, right? Racism, and that, you know, it's a shock when I tell people I don't blame white people for being racist. You know, I don't. Because at the end of the day, this is their rulership. The Most High gave them their kingdom now. This is their leadership. They choose to, I'll get you 1 second, right? They choose to run it how they will. I don't blame them for it. But when that turn and come around, that wheels turn, you know, in First Ezra, the Most High said his judgment is like a ring, so there's no tightness to the front and no slackness to the rear. So when that wheel turns, and we in that power, we can, you know, and we was talking about racism, about how we're racist also. It's just that we don't have that ability to exercise our racism. We don't have that ability to exercise it in financial and prison system and all of that, and dealing out the punishments. They have that authority. But when the power comes to us and we get to deal out our punishment, I don't want to hear nobody talk about, oh, you Israelites are racist. You know, because when Nebuchadnezzar was ruling, nobody was telling them, oh, you Babylonians are sitting on high and the rest of us is grinding meal. You know, nobody was telling Cyrus and Artaxerxes that the Persians was, you know, they was sitting on high, and you know, nobody was telling the Greeks that they was on high and everybody else is suffering. So when it's our turn, nobody gonna tell us, you know what, we on high and the rest of y'all is suffering. Now you're just gonna deal with it. you're gonna deal with them apples that the Most High giving you. You know, you just gonna and you gonna do what the Most High said. Because I was having a discussion about slavery in the Bible, right? And people, the one of the thing is a lot of people are ashamed of what's in the Bible, right? And how the Most High says that, you know, a stranger born among us. He says that we can't have servants from among our people, but we can take from the people up from the nations among us for servants and their kids. It says, and their kids and everything that they have belong to us forever. That is chattel slavery. Just like how when we was in the fields and we was born into slavery, we belonged to Mr. Johnson. That's how we belonged to John, so we became Johnson. You understand? That's we the same thing, right? So we're not ashamed of what's in the Bible. The Most High, just like, and that's the beauty of the Most High's perfect vision, right? That just like how we went through it, they'll go through it. When they have their kids going I would love to see Yamal with a few heathen and we having a celebration because his Chinese slave just had some kids and now Yamal have some more slaves. So we gonna have a cheer to that. We gonna open some good wine to that. We gonna celebrate the birth of these other nations. Because now we got more slaves, and my kids could use somebody. Like Mike, Diana.
Yeah, when we did have our own as servants, there was stipulation.
Con,
You had to give them land, and you couldn't do nothing foul.
con.
And you couldn't keep them like forever.
Exactly. After
Years,
7 years, we got to give them back their land, everything.
something.
Exactly. And all the kids that they like. So if you sell yourself into slavery to me, it's not slavery. First off, it's not slavery. I can't do you harm. I can't do you like I do the other nations, right? And then all your kids that are born still belong to you. At the end of that 7 years, you go, your wife, your kids, everything that belong to you go. I have to set you free. The only way I can keep you is if you go with me before the judge and say, "Now I want to stay in this brother's household." And then it says they'll take, I don't know if it's through your ear, an owl in your ear, and that'll be proof that you want to stay under my house.
Yeah, brother had actually, it's been a while ago. He said, man, when do we get a chance? Get back at them. When do we get a chance to break their way?
Come on. Okay.
Okay, first of all, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, there's
Book of Ezra, the first chapter, verse 1 and 2. It tells you we're not gonna be mixing our seed with the heathen.
yeah. We're not.
That's like that old one word back in the day. They gonna be raping. Nah, we ain't doing that.
Yeah, we're not.
We're not
That's
doing
I don't wanna. But that's a prevalent doctrine that I can't teach about rape, and that's not. It's just not there. It's not allowed. We're not. The scriptures say we're not supposed to do any abominable things to them. Rape in the law is something that's punishable by death. So we're not gonna do that. Like their slavery was worse than our slavery. Why? Because they did all buck breaking and all of that. We're not gonna be doing that. That's not. We can't. If the law is gonna be in our heart, we're not gonna be able to sin. So we're not gonna even be able to do that. Like what kind of weird stuff is that?
Well, now hold it now. When it says like they took our kids and fed them the animals and all that. Now there's no stipulation against that. The law applied to us, not to them.
So
it tells you in the 137 Psalm, we're gonna take these little ones
and
dash them against the wall.
All praises. Right? So that's what I mean. Like the abominable things like raping and sodomy and stuff like that. Not those. Yeah, those stuff. That's just retribution, Like, and then the Most High, according to First Thessalonians, it's a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense those that trouble you, So we will get that back, but like I said, man, when that day come, I don't want to hear that, because Malcolm X, when he had left the nation of Islam, he was petitioning these world leaders, in the Middle East and in Africa, for them to basically speak up against the crimes of humanity done to the black people in America, and none of them came up, right? So it's the same way none of them came up to speak for us. I don't want to hear nobody speak for these other nations when we get that retribution, This it's only right, So, but let's get back. I want to get back to the lesson, right? All right. So let's go to Matthew chapter 5, verse 22.
You said Matthew 5 and 22.
Yes, sir.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 22. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment.
So that's important, Go right back into the law. Whosoever is angry at his brother without a cause is in danger of the judgment. Go on.
And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire.
Go on.
Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there remembrance that thy brother hath aught against thee.
So this is talking about, when the temple was around, So he's saying when you bring in your gift, and you remember your brother got anything against you. Go on.
Leave there thy gift before the altar and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift.
So that's what the scriptures is saying, right? So we see even Christ echoing the same thing, and this goes into, something I'll get into later, like why let's do it now, right? Let's go to 1 John 4.
And that word raka is supposed to be vain fellow.
Yeah, all praises.
What we doing?
1 John chapter 4. And this goes into, Christ saying that if you bring your gift, so this is like a free will offering. You come to give a free will offering, and you remember, oh man, me and Mike, we kind of still at odds with each other. He said, leave your gift at the altar, be reconciled with your brother, then come and give your gift, right? And the apostle, John, he goes into this. He explains why. Not necessarily exactly why you leave your gift, but he goes into why that's important. So
1 John from
4. No. Let's start at verse 6, 4 and 6.
It's the book of 1 John, chapter 4, and verse 6. We are of Yahweh. He that knoweth Yahweh heareth us. He that is not of Yahweh heareth not us.
Go on.
Hereby know we the spirit of truth and the spirit of error.
Go on.
Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of Yahweh.
So this is important. We must love each other. We must love our brothers, right? Because love is of the Most High. Go on.
And let everyone that loveth is born of Yahweh, and knoweth Yahweh. He that loveth not knoweth not Yahweh, For Yahweh is love.
And the Most High loves. And when he's talking about love, you know, I always say, if you look in the scriptures, right, I can think of off top, like maybe 4 or 5 different places where the Most High says he loved Israel, or he expresses his love towards Israel. He doesn't express that emotion to any other nation. So this is, we know he's talking about Yahweh's love. He loves his people. Go on.
And this was manifested, the love of Yahweh toward us.
So see, he mentions it right there. And this is manifested the love of the Most High to us. Go on.
Because that Yahweh sent his only begotten Son into the world, that we might live through him.
Mm-hmm.
Herein is love. Not that we love Yahweh, but that he loved us and sent his Son to be the propitiation.
Propitiation.
It's
Let's go. Propitiation for our sins. Go on.
our sins. Beloved, if Yahweh so loved us, we ought also to love one another.
So he's saying this is the love, right? Not that we loved the Most High first, but the Most High loved us. So he loved us, so he sent his Son to be a propitiation of our sins. Why? Because he loved us, so he wants us to be reconciled back to him. Go on.
Yeah, he's showing us that it's not about an emotion. You know, these are acts that he's done to show his love.
To show his love for us. Exactly.
Right.
That's a
Saying-
beautiful point
he's
there.
saying, I love you, I love you, I love you.
Yeah,
There's
but-
no kind of,
And that's proof that the Most High loves us. How? Because he is only begotten. And in the sense of only begotten, you know, in Colossians it says that, you know, Yahweh Shah is the express image of Yahweh, the first of all creations. So the Most High made Yahweh Shah. This is his only begotten Son. And then Yahweh Shah, you know, he made everything else. Yahweh Shah made all of this. So Yahweh Shah is the Most High's only begotten Son. And that's how he expresses love for his people, you know, by him giving up the only one that he made. You know, Yahweh Shah made us. The Most High made Yahweh Shah. And that's how he showed his love for his people, by sending the only one that he made. Go ahead.
he didn't just say it.
Yeah, he didn't just say it. He was about it. He showed that action. Yes, Mike. You had your hand up, Mike?
Okay, yeah. You can also show the love the Most High has for Israel. You know about the war in heaven, right?
Go ahead.
Okay. Satan, he's an angel.
Mm-hmm.
And he had the records on what Israel was doing. He brought it up to the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, we were married to the Most High at that time.
Yeah.
Now, what we did was worthy of death.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't kill us. He just he punished us.
That's
He didn't kill us.
it's true. I believe in Ezekiel chapter 9 it mentions that all Israel went into idolatry. Well, what's the punishment for idolatry in the law?
Yeah.
Death. So we all were certainly worthy of death. But even giving us to the hands of all these other nations is mercy, because he could have wiped us clean. You know, we ran up that bill. You know, like, you know, Mike always said, the Most High said, do this, and if you don't do this, this gonna happen, and we said, bring it. You know, we said bring it. You know, and it's a fact. You know, like, you know, in Jeremiah it says, we say that we have the scribes with us, but our scribes is in vain, because we got the law. We had the law, but nobody's keeping it. You know, we all went into, and not only did we go into idolatry, like in that chapter in Ezekiel chapter 9, the Most High taking them up through the Spirit into the temple, and you got in one corner people worshiping the sun, another corner people worshiping idol. Like, we had idols set up in the temple, you know, and the Most High is showing Ezekiel this through the temple, through the Spirit. So, you know, they got one part worshiping the God, the Mother of Heaven or something like that. You know, so we was into all different things. Not only did we go into idolatry, we started practicing it in the Most High's house. You know, like it's one thing to be like he gave you laws and you like, forget about this. But now when you go and setting up your idols in his house, it's like, oh, y'all niggas got no respect. Like and we leave the Most High no choice when we do things like these, like, you know what? I tried to stay my hand. Go on, Nebuchadnezzar, go visit these people. Go eat King of the South. Go get these people. I'm gonna send all these people for them. But even in that, even in his anger, it's still mercy.
His hand was still stretched out.
He said, exactly, and he said he left a remnant. And we see this like in Babylon, them taking away. In 1 Kings 24, they talk about them taking away the princes of Judah, right? And then when you read Daniel chapter 1, it mentions that Daniel was one of those princes of Judah that was taken. So when you read 1 Kings 24, it tells you about them taking them into Babylon. And then when you read Daniel chapter 1, it mentioned that Daniel was one of those princes of Judah. So he left a remnant even then, that like Daniel, that the scriptures in Ezekiel it mentioned that it says about Daniel, Noah, and I can't recall who's the third, but it mentions that those people, no matter what, those people would be righteous, and they would save themselves. So we know even in the time of Babylon coming, there was a few people that was still upholding what was written. It wasn't all Israel. Like Christians like to say, well, all Israel went away, so he replaced them with the church. No, it was never all Israel. You make it, if you say that, you're making the Most High a liar, because the Most High said that he always reserve a remnant. So now if you say all Israel, no, you're lying, and the truth is not in you, because the Most High said he always reserve a remnant. So there's always going to be some good, but at the end of the day, as a nation of people, we definitely fell off, and we should have got the punishment, but the Most High gave us mercy, right? And this is the love of the Most High. This is another example of him showing that love, right? Let's continue that. Verse 11.
Verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
Beloved, if Yahweh so loved us, we ought also to love one another.
Mm-hmm.
No man hath seen Yahweh at any time. If we love one another, Yahweh dwelleth in us, and his love is perfected in us.
So it says, no man has seen the Most High any time. If we love one another, Yahweh dwell in us, and his love is perfected in us, right? So this is how we know that the Most High is in us, when you love your people. When you love your people. And this is proof that the Most High in a lot of people, because I was telling, in that conversation, we're the only people who get money and try to avoid our people. We move into other people's neighborhood. And we wonder why we get discriminated against when we go to their neighborhood. Right? We move, so that love for ourselves isn't there. It's not there, right? We just, and this is why we need this truth to cleanse ourselves, to get back to that love of your people, right? And this is when you get to that, the Most High is in you, and now you start, I look at our brothers out there in the world, not with a negative eye. It's sympathy I have towards them. I have empathy towards them. I feel bad for them because I see myself in them also. Like for a long period of time, I was walking around not knowing better, not even understanding that there is better, believing every damn thing that comes on the news, looking in all these different philosophies and books. I don't know, everybody know who Zecharia Sitchin is? He's Zecharia Sitchin. He's this author. He specializes in like Sumerian writings, and he's a fictional historical writer, right? So what he does is he takes historical stuff and he'll write these whole stories. You guys ever heard of Enlil? Anybody ever heard of the planet Nibiru?
I heard
the planet Nibiru, this Zachariah Sitchin created this idea.
Isn't that like AKA Planet X or something?
Planet X, exactly. He created this idea. He redid those Sumerian writings and Lil and their creation stories, and he makes a whole series of books off of this, right? I was one of those guys who used to read Zachariah Sitchin books, so I was looking into all different philosophies and everything, and I was one of those people, the Bible, that's a white man book and all that, and I didn't know better. So, people, even brothers, people that read the Bible without no understanding, they'll read it and, they'll know there's something in it. So they'll have that spark, but they can't explain what it is, They can't connect the dots, right? And so, all praise to the Most High that He chose to show us these things, that we are these people. And one of the key themes that, the Yahushua is teaching His apostles to teach to the people is to love yourself, right? Yahushua, one of His last words on the cross, because it wasn't His last words, was, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." Because we was celebrating at His death, but our King, in his death, He's like, "Yo, forgive them, for they don't know what they do." Like they don't understand what's gonna happen, and it's in our scriptures, man. When I read Isaiah chapter 28, I'm like, man, how did they not know? How did they not know? Let's finish this, and I want to go into Isaiah 28. It's completely off script from what I had, but just the Spirit leading me to Isaiah 28. So let's just finish this one, right? Verse 13.
This is the book of 1 John, chapter 4, verse 13. Hereby know we that we dwell in Him, and He is in us, because He has given us His Spirit. And we have seen and do testify that the Father sent the Son to be the Savior of the world.
All right, jump down to verse 20.
Verse 20. If a man say, I love Yahweh, and hath his brother,
And hateth his brother. So if a man say, I love the Most High, so if you you ask one of these Christian people, right, when you're talking to them, say, you love God? How do you feel about that homeless guy there? You love him too? That's a question right there. And then you read them this. Start back from the top, 20.
This is verse 20. If a man say, I love Yahweh, and hateth his brother, he is a liar.
Mm-hmm.
For he that loveth not his brother whom he have seen, how can he love Yahweh whom he hath not seen?
And this is a question, and yeah, we gotta, and this is where we gotta be at, because the love of our people is something, we go out and we teach because we love our people, but the love of our people, is something that we have to build on, like the love for our people. Like, I don't want, Paul expressed this by saying, it's our heart's content that all Israel may be saved. Paul wants all of us to be saved, knowing full damn well we all ain't gonna be saved. But he could wish it that we was all saved. And this is love for your people, that you hate to see them. Sometimes I get angry. I get angry with the world. I get angry with the world for what it did to the black man, what it do to our women, and what it plans to do to our kids. I get angry with the world because it's like it's like you're dropped off into the middle of nowhere and told, figure it out, Go ahead.
Really, that anger that we feel for the people is really for ourselves.
It's because of the love for our people. So
If we would have did what we did,
yeah, calm.
you know what I mean?
Calm.
I can understand the anger that we have for one another.
Con.
You know what I mean? Because it all points back
To us.
to
And, I'm one of, the scriptures. I look at like the story with Adam and Eve when Eve bit the apple, right? And gave Adam the apple. When the Most High came down, he didn't go to Eve and say, Eve, why you gave Adam the apple? He didn't do that. He said, Adam, what hast thou done? Right? So the Most High deals with order, right? And I understand that these other nations understand that too. So what's the first thing that they do is they separate the family, get the man out the house. Now the woman is gonna get right along with their program, So it all comes right back to us, It comes back to us men. The Most High says that his sheep are men. The Most High is dealing. His flock is men. His flock is men, right? And we have to understand our place. This world hates masculinity. Now it doesn't. It hates black masculinity. It hates it. It's afraid of it because. So what they do is they make take the man out of his natural environment. Now a man is no longer the head of his household. So this man is like a shit without a brother. He don't know what the hell to do with himself, And the woman, she's not supposed to do that. She's not. Now the woman is being placed in a position that's not her natural position. When you go into the scriptures and it says he took Eve out of Adam's rib, and what does your ribs do? Your ribs support your body so that you can stay upright. You take your ribs out, you like this. Your ribs support. So the ribs job is support. It literally is support. Your whole torso, take your rib out. Your torso is standing on nothing. Now you fold it over like an accordion, right? Your rib is support. Your rib is not your head. Your head is on top, your rib support. And that's the woman's natural role. And that woman's natural position is support, not the lead. Right? And so when they switch these positions, now you look at the kids, man, and the kids don't know what. Now, if the father's not in the house to give direction and leadership, now the kids will follow drug dealers, gangbangers, anything the TV tells them, everything else but who he's supposed to be listening to. So I get upset with it, but like Judah said, it ultimately falls back on us because we went off. We did this to the Most High. Let me get to Yahweh first. And
Yeah, I was gonna say, this chapter here, the 20th verse, I think it has to deal a lot with our pride. We say that, we love our brother, we love the Most High and not our brother. I think it's our pride that keeps us from loving our brother, thinking that, we're a step up and me and the Most High got this connection and whatnot. And I think a brother would have to humble himself to really look at his brother and understand what the scripture's saying. Open up to his brother, because I'm gonna tell you the truth, it's not an easy thing, man.
It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing,
So, I think it has a lot to do with our pride.
But the Most High, I believe it's in 2 Corinthians 13 also, it says that he won't give us all temptation is common to man. So everything that we go through, and he's not going to give us more than we could bear. So this idea of loving our brother, and it's like you said, man, it's a pride thing, and it's a pride thing and it's also, conditioning that we've been conditioned to compete with each other and like I got, and it's also in our spirit, right? We see in King Solomon days said that the servants wore gold. They thought that he was the king, right? So it's in our spirit to, we want the nice stuff, So, but the thing is instead of us loving each other and being happy for each other, we take it now as competition with each other.
Right.
This nigga can't outshine me. His car can't be better than mine. His house can't be better than mine. You know, like, and so instead of us being happy for our brother doing great things, we start looking at it as competition, you know, and there the love goes right away. Now that you've given place to the devil, you know, now the devil's in your ear whispering, like, look at him. His garment. Look at his garment. You see his garment, brother? And next thing you know is like, like, yeah, how much that garment costs, brother? Well, mine, you know, and now you know, and this is, we got to get rid of those and go back to loving each other, loving our brothers, loving, you know, because it's a hard thing. It's a very hard thing. I'm grateful for the Most High, right? For everything that He's, you know, I'm not somebody to shy away from my past, you know, because, you know, Yahweh Shah said, you know, a lot of things come to my mind. Yahweh Shah said about the woman that was crying, right? And he said that the Most High, the ones who the Most High forgive the most are the ones who's going to be more thankful, roughly paraphrasing. So I look at myself and I think, you know, the Most High has given me opportunity to come from a low place, from a very dark place, you know, and He's allowed me to see things and to change my perception on things. So I'm grateful to the Most High, you know, like.
The Most High picked everyone to do this from that dark place. It tells you that First Corinthians.
First Corinthians, exactly. You know, he chose us out of that dark place, you know, like.
Because they're not part of the world.
And you know, I hated a lot of things, you know, but the love I didn't have. I didn't understand the love, like the balance that the Most High wants. That balance, like, yeah, you know, hate the evil, love the good, you know, love your people.
Those are the guys that know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
Con men, thieves.
Con.
They know how to talk to people.
Con. He gave us practice, you know.
And that's how he shows power by picking the lowest to outshine the brightest people out there.
Con. And that, you know, I'm grateful for it. So it's like we gotta, you know, so I'm grateful to the Most High. I believe I love the Most High. So when I read scriptures like this, it's like, all right, so prove that you love the Most High. So when I read a class or something like that, it's not necessarily for other people so much as me, for myself to get it. Like, you know what? Yeah, I keep the law and all of these stuff, right? And practice keeping the law. But what else? How can I continue to grow in this truth? You know, Yeshaya, you know, he always talk about the fruits of the Spirit and how we can show these things, you know, like the temperament and just dealing with each other. And these are stuff that for myself, you know, I have to work on. Like, you know, how I deal with my brothers, you know, like I haven't called, I was out for a little while. I haven't called Yahweh in that whole time. I'm working and I'm trying to help my wife out to keep, you know, give her 2 days to be off her feet, to rest up. And even when I'm not working, you know, try to keep her off her feet as much as possible. But how come I ain't made time for Yahweh to give Yahweh a call just to check in on him? Like, how you doing, brother? You know, I'm still, you know, and you know, I love brothers Ainwa, Awar. You know, I know they're captains, so it's their position to check in on me. You know, but every time they call, man, I'm grateful. You know, like, man, it's beautiful, man. You know, Benaniah, I see him a lot because he lives nearby. You know, and he work. You know, but so you know, but at the end of the day, these are things that we got to work on, like loving the brethren. You know, loving each other.
You know, I've been thinking also.
Go ahead.
I've been thinking about the same issue, because we just had a class on Brotherhood a couple of weeks ago. And there's a saying that John F. Kennedy said back in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's an Edomite, but
Mhm.
you know, saying the saying. He said that, ask not what your country can do to you, for you, but ask what you could do in your country. In other words, ask not what the nation of Israel
Can do for
me.
you, exactly.
What can I do for the nation of Israel?
That's the spirit, man. Because I was
Yeah.
thinking about that same phrase recently too, and it's a good phrase because we we gotta believe. We have to believe, right? And it makes me season my speech when dealing with brothers who's not in the truth, who's not aware. I don't want to get too deep for them. I don't want to get too deep for them. I want to be able to, and these things that we're talking about is Paul said he's all things to all men. He's literally saying the same thing. Like, how can I win this brother right here? That's what Paul is saying right there. Like, this brother is a Roman. Oh, I'm a Roman too, brother. But did you know though that we descend from this group of people right here? And being all things for all men, so being able to relate to the people that we're trying to reach, we can't, we go out there and we teach the people, but we can't, when we're speaking in general, lift up that voice like a trumpet. But when somebody comes up, we have to be able to win that brother. We have to be able to win that person. We have to be able to relate to that person on a one-to-one. I feel like the experiences that, like Mike said, we all been through. We all been through experiences that allow us to be able to relate to people. So it's not just, okay, blah, 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 like, one of my favorite verses, Titus 3:3, but it said, let me get it. I'll read it. Right, Titus 3:3. Says, for we also, I'll read it. For we ourselves also were sometimes foolish, disobedient, deceived, serving diverse lusts and pleasures, living in malice and envy, hateful and hating one another. But after that kindness and love of Yahweh, our Savior toward men. So because the Most High loved us, we found Yahweh Shah, right? It says, not by works of righteousness which we have done, because Lord knows I was righteous. Righteous. Like somebody asked me, are you righteous, brother? Righteous? Who wants to be righteous? Like I'm gonna get it any means necessary. Like that. So it's not by works of righteousness which we have done, but according to the mercy he saved us. So the Most High showed mercy to us. And so we can't be high and mighty with people. We got to try to win our people. Go on.
He didn't go to the righteous.
Khan. In fact, that was one of his criticism against them. Like, you guys are over righteous. Y'all don't need me. I came for the destitute. I came for the downtrodden. This is the gospel that you can have salvation. The kingdom is yours. Y'all in the synagogues with the broad phylacteries. Y'all don't need me. Y'all righteous. Look at y'all. Y'all good. Y'all don't need me. He said the doctor doesn't come for the doctor comes for the sick, not for the ones that's whole.
Through your weaknesses.
What's that?
Through your weaknesses. And that's when I'm doing my individual.
Yeah.
Through my weakness, that's when I become strong.
Exactly.
In programs, they have a saying, when you reach your bottom, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, they don't every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They calm.
There ain't no more avenues open. Everything is shut down.
Calm.
That's
That's exactly, man. You know, I think
But even that has a little, even when you come to your body, it all depends on if you call on the Father.
so I have a theory. You know, I have a theory on like a lot of people in the truth that at some point before we came into the truth, we all asked for the truth. You know, we all asked for it in one way or another. We wanted to know the Most High. And because of that, we asked them, the Most High devised our path that you're gonna walk down 42nd Street, 34th Street and see brothers. You're gonna, you know, I always say with me and my brother, we was, you know, when we came into the truth, man, we was keeping the Sabbath at home, and we said, you know, we need to start building with brothers. And the same day, very same day, I ran across the camp. The very coming home, so I would go to my brother's house and keep the Sabbath there, you know, just to stay away from the temptation and all that. You know, we watching each other, you know, helping building each other up. And we said we need to get with the congregation, you know, like be around brothers. And the same day on my way home at Broadway Junction, I guess it was a rainy day, I ran across the camp. You know, I talked to a war. He gave me the flyer. And then the other part of that is when I get on the A train downstairs, I sit across from a guy. I see the zits on, and he's from a non-messianic camp. You know, so the Most High gave me two doors. And, you know, and I asked the brother, yo, you're Israelite? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, you believe in Yahweh? He's like, who's that? I'm like, the Bible called Christ. He's like, oh, you mean JC? He's like, no, we don't. And the choice was made for me already, you know, like, I'm like, gave me two doors. I'm going to go with this one. And, you know, I asked, you know, follow this guy, or I could come with brothers who believed in Christ, you know. So the Most High answered that prayer, you know, that simple request. You know, we need to find a body. We need to be among brethren. Literally, the Most High gave me two doors. Which one you gonna walk through? This one or that one? Mike?
Yeah, there's two scriptures, John 14:6. Yahweh shall teach you that go from him to get to the Most High. And Matthew 17:5. The Most High said, "This is my son." So how you get around?
Exactly. Yeah. And you know, all praises, man, because that spirit was always on me, believing in Yahweh. You know, I always did. You know, even in the world, you know, I'm like, I was curious, you know, like, this man, who is this man, you know? But now all praises. But I would just want to, so I'm just going to cut it short. You got to get the understanding of my class, right? But I want to go into Isaiah 28, right? Because I mentioned about how did we not know what was going to come after we sold our king to the Romans, all right?
Yeah, 28.
Yeah.
How did we not know?
How did we not know what was going to happen?
Say that.
How did?
You talking to me? I'm in the streets.
So I'm talking about not necessarily us. I'm talking about the generation that gave Yahweh that you know, we had the option to free Barabbas or Yahweh, and we said free Barabbas. Pilate said he didn't find any sin in this man. Washed his hand, the blood is off him. We said his blood be on us and our children forever. Right? Words, man. You hear what our ancestors said, right? His blood be on us and our children forever. Our ancestors put that on us, right? But Isaiah 28, verse 16.
Verse what?
Verse 16.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 28, verse 16. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I lie in Zion for a foundation.
Salakia, let's start at 14. Let's start at 14, just for context.
Verse 14. Wherefore, hear the word of the Lord, ye scornful men that rule this people which is in Jerusalem.
So he's talking to a specific group of people, right? The leaders who rule the people that are in Jerusalem, the southern kingdom. Go on.
Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us.
So go ahead.
For we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood we have hid ourselves.
So we made a covenant with death, right? You know, we was doing all different kind of things, and we said we good. We said when the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come onto us. A scourge is like a punishment, right? So he's saying we good. It's not going to affect us. It says, and we made lies our refuge, and on the falsehood we have hid ourselves. So the Most High said, this is what y'all doing, right? Now verse 16.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I lie in Zion for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation.
Mm-hmm.
He that believeth shall not make me haste.
So he's saying, therefore the Most High said, he'll lay in Zion, he'll set in Zion, in Jerusalem, for a foundation, for people to build on, a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, right? I want to get something, right?
This is something like when Moses made the serpent and set that up in the midst of Israel and told them if they look on it, they'll be healed of the snakes that been
Come.
also leaving a stone there
Alright.
that they're gonna constantly trip over unless they wake up.
Exactly. It's the same thing, right? And it's the same thing. Let's go hold this chapter. Let's go to Psalms 118, verse 22. Verse 22.
This is the book of Psalms 118, verse 22. The stone which the builders refused is become the headstone of the corner.
Mm-hmm. Let's see when Yahweh said, "Behold, I come," in the volume of the book it is written of me. If you read Psalms 118, and you could really start. Let's start at 16. Yeah, let's start at 16 because this is all Yahweh. This is all Yahweh, because I just jumped down to the verse about the stone, but this is all Yahweh. Let's go.
Verse 16. The right hand of the Lord is exalted.
Who sits at the right hand of the Most High? Yahweh. The right hand of the Most High is exalted. If you read John chapter 14, Yahweh said, "Give me the glory that I had, which I had with you from the beginning." So he's talking about exalt me up like I was before, right? So this is what it's talking about. The right hand of the Lord is exalted.
14.
16.
16. The right hand of the Lord is exalted. The right hand of the Lord doeth
Valiantly.
violently. I shall not die, but live.
So Yahweh saying he's not going to die. He died, but he lived. He didn't stay in the land of the dead. He rose back after 3 days. Go on.
And declare the works of the Lord.
So he's going to live and declare the works of the Most High. Go on.
And the Lord has chastened me sore, but he has not given me
Given.
over unto death.
And if you read Isaiah 53, it says, but the Lord, like with his chastisement, we are healed. The Lord chastised Christ for our sake, right? It says, but he chastened me sore, but he had not given me over unto death. So he didn't just stay there, right? Go on.
Open to me the gates of righteousness. I will go into them, and I will praise the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
This gate of the Lord into which the righteous shall enter.
Mm-hmm. And this is the gate. The gate, Yahushua literally says also in all of these in John 14 that he is the gate. So he's saying, and go on.
I will praise thee, for thou hast heard me and art become my salvation.
Mm-hmm.
The stone which the builders refused is become the headstone of the corner. This is the Lord's doing. It is marvelous in our eyes.
Mm-hmm.
This is the day which the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it.
And we all know that church song, "This is the day that the Lord has made." We all know that, right? But let's go back to Isaiah 28. So that cornerstone is Yahushua, right? It says, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believeth shall not make haste.
Righteousness to the plummet, and the hell shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the water shall overflow the hiding place.
So let's break this down, right? It says, so because they trusted in lies and made that their refuge, it says, therefore he laid a stone in Zion, right? And he that believeth shall not make haste, right? So they're not going to be running to and fro. He that believeth on this stone. That stone is Yahushua, right? It says, judgment also will I lay to the line, and righteousness to the plummet. So he's now judging them for not believing in this stone, right? And the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies. So this is literally saying that after they reject Yahushua, what's going to end up happening? Judgment is coming. So how did Israel not know that, when we said, let his blood be on us and our children forever, it's right there in the scriptures that judgment is coming for not accepting him. Go on. Verse 18.
Verse 18. And your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. When the overflowing surge shall pass through, then ye shall be trodden down by it.
When that overflowing judgment, punishment pass through, we're going to be trodden down by it. They say, how long, if you follow like the estimations of the scholars, and, they'll say Christ was born between 2 BC, either between 2 BC to 2 AD. Right, during that period, and he lived up until either 32 BC to 36 BC. We were kicked out of the land in 70 AD. That's 30, give or take 35 years after Yahushua died. Most High didn't waste too long after Yahushua died to bring that judgment on the nation. Right? And we were cast out into all nations like Yahushua prophesies, right? So the Most High wasn't waiting too long after that, And if you I have this book from this author, Ignatius. He says that the time when the Romans sieged Jerusalem was at the time of Passover. Now, what's significant about that is that in our law it says all Israelite male are supposed to come to Jerusalem for the Passover. So now, let's just say I don't know the exact numbers, but let's just give a right. So let's just assume 10 million people live in Jerusalem. But at the time of the Passover, with all these other people coming in, it's probably going to be like 20 million people, in Jerusalem. So when, according to Ignatius, when the Romans sieged Jerusalem, it wasn't just the people that lived there was caught in that siege. It was everybody who came to Jerusalem for the Passover, right? So the Most High's judgment was severe, like even people who wasn't even in the land at the time when Yahushua died, they got caught up in that judgment, and that's how the Most High deal with it, So if we had thoroughly read the scriptures, we would have known. Would you?
Just on a lower level,
Mm-hmm.
remember the Most High passed judgment on an individual,
Mm-hmm.
and you with that individual, and that individual is wrong. You're going to court with it.
Yeah, con. Definitely.
You know what I mean? I'm just taking that to a bigger level to where you're at now.
Con. I mean, and the scriptures say that in Ezekiel that if you don't warn them, his blood is on your hands. So that judgment he got, if you see one of your people getting that judgment and you didn't, Yahushua said anybody that's ashamed of me, he's going to be ashamed of them to the Father. So if you being ashamed to get like, yo, brother, you shouldn't be doing that, and you was ashamed to do it, and you see that man getting that judgment for it, man, you better get up in there and throw up some prayers, like, what, Salakia, because the Most High's judgment is real. With that, I'm gonna wrap up the class with that. I just want one last verse, to kind of solidify this. Let's go to Romans chapter 12, right? The whole point.
Romans chapter 12.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
From
No. Let's start at verse 10. Just verse 10.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 10. Be kindly affection
Mm-hmm.
one to another with brotherly love.
Mm-hmm. So he's saying for us to be, show each other brotherly love. Go on.
And honor, preferring one to another.
Preferring one another, right? And, yep. So we're supposed to prefer each other. You see, and this is in general, man. Brothers in the truth and your people. We the only people, man, that don't practice nepotism. And we have to get back to that. Nepotism means preferring ourselves. We promoting ourselves. You see, I'm the kind of guy that's on a packed train. I see the Salaki. I see these old white women come up on the train. I'm not getting up. I will sit there and look at them in their face and not get up. But let one of my sisters come on the train, I'm gonna get up and shield that old white woman from getting that seat so that my sister could get that seat. And this is what we gotta be, preferring ourselves. I've seen it. I've seen it, and it got me. I'm like, yo, they don't gotta understand it, so I can't be mad at them, but like, you don't know, I've been watching this lady for 2 stops. So we gotta prefer one another, man. Prefer our own peoples. Support our own people. It may be hard sometimes because of the level that our people's at, and you know. But at the end of the day, man, we black people, we don't care about customer service, right? We'll go anywhere if the product is good. You know, we've seen Starbucks violators. We've seen Chinese nail salons violators. We've seen all these people violators, and we still support them. You know. So the thing is like we gotta start preferring ourselves. You know, like forget about how like Howard's wife makes ziti. You know, we gotta show support for that, you know?
And then, our brothers and sisters that have, things go because we just don't do that.
Yeah.
And we get every nation in the hood.
Yeah.
And our people that are in the hood with the business, they suffer because our people's like, nah, man, I ain't gonna support, It's a condition.
Exactly.
But I got a piece of I like to bring up
Go ahead.
concerning the class you talked about. And I think it's the perception that we hold within ourselves when we come out of the world into the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, this is Matthew 13, 44 to, 44. It says, again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid in the field, the which when a man had found, he hideth it. So you go somewhere and you find a bunch of gold or a bag of money. Okay, what do? You hide it.
Got
Right?
it, so you don't lose
You
it.
hide it, man. Yo, this is mine. This is mine. I put it in the stash.
Con. Make sure you keep it. Yeah.
Right. And it says, and for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath and buyeth that field. So all the attributes that he had before he found the gold, when he was in the world, he cut them loose.
That's a beautiful.
Hey,
that's
I'm
a
like,
beautiful breakdown.
I'm up here now.
Exactly.
My life is changing. I'm leaving all that nonsense behind me, and I'm looking forward for this. And I think that when we come to the truth, that's the perception that we have to have. Like I said before, don't ask what the nation can do for you, ask what you can do for your nation.
We have to
Keep
completely
your eye on the prize.
completely buy into this. Completely buy into this. No half stepping. No, I'm here for the world. We gotta completely buy in, because when we buy in, it's like showing your Hawashah, like, yo, I'm with this. Hawashah said, let me get this. I want to find this. But the plow says, no man that set his hand to the plow and look at back is worthy of it. Is worthy of him. So we gotta buy completely and like, you know what? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. This is the truth. All praises of the Most High. This is the gospel. This is the good news. The good news is that we, the downtrodden people who call every name under the sun, we are the sons of God.
And that's like when you said, no man that taketh his hand to the plow looks back. If you do look back, the Most High brings you back.
Exactly.
You better turn it up.
Pick yourself up.
You better turn it up, man.
Because sometimes, man, I'm not gonna lie, man. I was out for a little while, and sometimes I'm like, man, I'm lacking. I'm trying to do so much. And then I heard, I was listening to a brother. I'm not gonna call names just because I'm recording it, and he said, this work, how many brothers sacrifice their life, sacrifice their families and everything for this truth, because we put Yahawashah above our own selves, and I'm like, man, so it's a balance. I'm trying to be a good husband and help out in the house, but then I also feel like, man, I'm not going hard enough. I'm not doing everything that I could. I'm not. So listen, man, while I was out, man, it was like punches in the gut, like You know, where you got to analyze yourself like, man, I don't want. Yeah, I wish I said, if you lukewarm in this thing, he's going to move your candle out of its place. He's going to take that light from you. Now you just going, I don't feel the same. You know, like and I don't want to feel that. I don't want to express that. I don't want to experience that. I don't want to know what that's like to not feel like you're doing the Lord's work. You know, that you're not doing your best.
Wherever you put your heart at, that's where your love is.
Con.
You know what I mean? And like as far as your family or your children, it's like if you put, like we read in scripture, you must put your heart, mind, spirit, all your might
Mm-hmm.
into this word. What is the word? The word is the love of the Father.
Con.
The gospel.
Con.
The gospel is his word.
Con.
So once we do that, oh man, I'm putting all this into the gospel, but dang, what about my family? The Most High is going to take care of your family.
Con.
He's going to bless you where your family automatically taken care of. It's like people so involved with money, not realizing
That the Most High is the one that provides.
with some people that get money, it's
Yeah.
the worst thing could have happened to you.
Con.
Because now they lose perspective. They become so comfortable. They're not hungry no more because of
The money, exactly.
The money.
Yep.
I found out most rappers,
Yeah.
most artists
Yeah.
that climbed the ladder that Esau took them from the garden as a tree,
Yeah.
decorated them with cars,
Yeah.
you know, put them on national TV.
Yeah.
There's a trick to that. He put them on national TV and garment them up so he can get an audience, a body of people
Mm-hmm.
under whatever doctrine
Esau's.
that the Edomites want him to be.
Exactly.
And
Con.
once he get them there, if you make, oh, we don't really need you no more. We got.
Exactly. I got your reach already. I built you up so that I could get your reach.
Now you so high, you talking about you want to own a television station?
Yeah.
You know this?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah,
Remember what you did 20 years ago?
Yeah. And to be honest, man, it don't even matter if you even did it or not. They'll make something up.
Yes.
They'll parade some people, you know, because, you know, even though Andrew Cuomo is an Edomite, you know, and I don't got no love for him. I'm like, this man literally lost his job off he say, she say. Not one shred of evidence. Just you get two women come out and say, yeah, he sexually assaulted me. Did you record it? No. But he made passes at me. Oh, well, in the court of public opinion, you're a predator. You prey on women. You can't be man no more. He did not. There's no evidence, you know, so it doesn't even matter sometimes if they, you know, if Esau got anything on you. It's just that he propped you up there and he gonna pull that leg from underneath you and now you right back down. Now you know what I mean? You talk.
And then the thing with the dressing up as a homosexual, whatever you want to call it, that audience now praised you so much. Well, if he did it, it must be all right.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you got a body of them doing the same thing as what you did.
And that's
But
all.
now, on the other hand, if we go into the direction of the Mashiach,
Mhm.
outside, we're always going to be, you know, he says, when you die,
Mm-hmm.
when you die,
Mm-hmm.
when you die, then you'll come back to me.
Con.
That doesn't necessarily mean, as we know,
Yeah.
a physical death.
Yeah.
It's meaning when you die from being that wicked person,
Yeah.
that, you know, getting rid of all of that.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
when
you said, the
think-
bottom. When you hit that bottom, that's when you're gonna remember me. You're gonna remember Yahweh Show. And with that, I'm gonna shut my class down. I hope brothers got something out of it.
All right.